Hi, I'm Jim Kasper with Ben Franklin Community Garden, and today we're going to do a couple more hacks. We'll do how to make little labels for your plants out of, once again, the pop bottles. So the top we used the other day to make little pots. We're going to take the top and turn it into plant labels, and all you got to do is get the top here, and you cut up with your little, use the scissors or a little shearer like this. And then you cut it along here, and we'll cut it. So the only thing we're throwing away is the little top here. And the bottom piece, you just take like this, and you're just gonna cut them into little strips. And it just takes a second. If you put these in your garden at the end of the year, you got to take them out, but this is great for marking your seed starts, which is what we're going to do a little bit later. And this saves you from having to buy them, and it's free. I mark them up with, this is a great tool, it's a paint pen. You can pick these up at a hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot. They're about maybe $4, and it's got little tip, these don't fade. If you use a Sharpie like this and put it out in the sun, within a few weeks you won't be able to read it because the sun will bleach them out and you can't see what you wrote. But this will stay very permanent, it stays for years. And then we're going to do some lettuce, so we'll mark one of them up here with we're going to do some iceberg lettuce, and we just my handwriting's not very good. And we'll use that to mark what we planted in here. All right. Now what we're going to do is we'll show you how to start some seeds. One method is to start them in a little tray like this, and you're only going to grow the seedlings up until they're just barely, germinated, or slightly after they're germinated, and you prick them out like I showed in the other video, and you plant them into a module, something like this. You fill with compost, and you can prick them in. I got some over there. We'll show you in a little bit what it looks like after you prick them out. But this is how you start them to get them to that point. So all you got to do is you get some. This is a small. I think there were strawberries in here or something originally from the grocery store. They saved it. It's already got holes in it and everything, so it works really good. Put some potting soil in here or seed starter mix. Either one's fine. This is a very fine potting mix, so this will work fine. And then once again, I'm going to use our little free chopsticks here. And we're just going to draw a little line in here. Just about 1/4 of an inch. That's what the package says to plant them deep. We'll do 2 rows of the iceberg lettuce, and then we'll do 2 rows of, I think we've got a we've got a Paris Island romaine here. We'll plant that up, and some baby romaine. So we'll make you don't need to put them very far apart because they're going to be pricked out before they get very big and shade each other out. So first one we do is the iceberg lettuce here. And these are really tiny seeds, so you want to plant them pretty thinly because you'll get plenty of plants out of this. More than you'll ever need, most likely. The package is not cooperating. So we got them here if they don't blow away. We're going to plant them in just really thinly, one every ½ inch or so. And if you get them out of the line, that's okay. So that's that one. Next one I'm going to do is the baby romaine. These packages are weird. Like I say, you don't need a lot. Do a couple of rows like this. So we'll get like we'll get like 20 or 30 plants out here easy. And that's more than most people will need. And the final one is the Paris Island romaine. And you can plant them this way or that way, that doesn't make any difference. And I do it this way because when you use when you plant them, direct sow these in the garden, which you definitely can do, and you got to go back in and thin them out, and you waste a lot of seed, and it seems like a waste. So we won't do it that way. All right, next thing we can do is we can just tap this in a little bit, get the seeds to adhere to the soil a little bit. And I'm going to use a little bit of seed starting mix because I've got it, and it's just a little bit to lightly cover the seed. You don't need a lot. And I'm just going to give it a splash of water, and then it's ready to roll, and we'll close it up here. And that's good enough. I'm going to label these up here so we know what we got. And we'll do one here for Paris Island. All right. You can take these out if you want, or you leave them in. And we're just going to close this up. Just put that in a warm place. Doesn't really need light, but it does need to be warm. And this will keep the humidity in that to help the seeds germinate. Once they germinate, they get about maybe half an inch tall or so. Their leaves get decent size. Then you can come in with this and prick them out and put them into a single plant into each one of these modules. And then it'll end up looking like, I'll go down here and show you. I did these about less than a week ago, and they're already starting to get established. But each one only has one plant in it, and then they'll grow on. A few of them don't worry about that, but I got the majority of them. Those are iceberg lettuce there, and this is red deer tongue lettuce. I think that's what it's called. All right. All right, I'm going to put that on the side here. Next thing we're doing, we're going to plant some we're going to plant some beets. This is a method called multi-sowing. Most people, you plant beets and you thin them out and you get one every 4 or 5 inches apart. But this way we're going to multi-sow, and this is something I learned online from a guy named Charles Dowding, who is the father of no-dig gardening, and he does all of his stuff this way except for carrots and parsnips. But everything else he'll start ahead of time and then plant them out in little plugs. Some he multi-sows and some he don't, but many of them he does. So you can do like beets or onions or leeks, what else? We had Swiss chard, things like that you can plant in multis. And what happens is, you would think that the plants wouldn't do well because they'll be all together, but what happens is they'll start growing and the roots will go out in each direction and get enough nutrients. And as they get bigger, you can harvest the biggest one, and then the other ones take over and they become the biggest ones. So you can spread out your harvest over a longer period of time, as opposed to getting just one harvest and having, you know, 100 beets. This way you can get like 10 at a time and go through the garden and pick them up. So what we're going to do is these little peat pots. This is just all peat moss, and they come in a little pellet about that high. I think Alicia's going to have a video on these growing once you water them. You add some water these about 5 minutes ago, and they've already grown up to as big as they're going to get. And just pull this apart. They kind of have a little hole in there anyhow. We're going to make one anyhow, a little deeper, like that. And this fiber is biodegradable, but it takes a while. But the roots go right through it, and don't have to worry. You can just plant the whole thing. If it bothers you, you can rip this off when you go to plant them. I've done it both ways. Either way works. All right. So we got that prepped. Now what we're going to do is we got blustery in this here. Got Detroit dark red. It's one of the most common beets. It's a really good beet. It does really well in our garden, so we'll put these in here. And if you don't like red ones, there's all kinds of different varieties. There's yellow ones and striped ones and whatever. The yellow ones are nice because it doesn't get your hands all red, but other than that, they taste pretty much the same. And we get some seeds here. The thing about beets is there's actually more than one seed in a lot of these, and they're like a little it's really a seed pod as opposed to a seed. But we're going to put like we're going to put 3 or 4 in each one of these. And if you get 5, that's not a problem. You can always, just leave it at 5, or you can thin them out if it makes you happy. I'm going to have to shove these in a little bit more. And if you plant just 3, you're probably going to get 4, maybe even 5. It just depends on how many germinate out of the seed pod. Right now it's May 2nd, and it'll give these about 3 weeks before that was pretty good, before our garden opens on the 22nd of May, so that'll work out well. I'm just going to knock these in a little bit more. Some of these are too shallow. And you can either just close these up, or I'm going to use some of that seed starter mix again just to cover them up. And this is basically the same thing that's in the peat pellet, except there's a little bit of vermiculite in here for the seed starter mix. That's all this stuff is. And we'll just hit this with a little bit more water just to get that covering wet. You can use a mist bottle or something, that works fine. Or just like that. And then I had a label here for it, but it blew away. Anyhow, you can put a label on it. It's Detroit Dark Red or just beets. The beets and Swiss chard, when they come up, they look pretty much identical because they're from the same family of plants. Swiss chard is just kind of a beet without the root. I'll put that in here. And there was this little thing comes with the lid on it. It's a plastic lid. This plastic lid is the same idea. It's gonna, we got a little bit too much water in here now. Let me get rid of some of that. Keep it humid. Once again, you just got to keep this in a warm place until they sprout. These, once they sprout, you can transplant them pretty much at very small size. You may want to get a little bigger, and then the pests won't get at them as much. You won't have to worry about slugs and snails or birds eating them up. So a little bit, they get maybe this high, maybe. So that's like 1.5 inches tall. Then you can transplant them into your garden. Or if not, you can just direct do it. I use a, it's called a dibble. It's an old shovel with the bottom's gone. And you just use that. I just poke a hole in the ground and then space them about 9 inches apart. Each little module, 9 inches apart, and you're done. And then you cover them up, and we'll maybe do a video on planting them up once these get bigger. And that's pretty much it. Get a chance, if you found any of this interesting or whatever, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also we still do have the IOB thing going on where you can donate to the garden to help out with the pavilion we're going to build. And until next time, have a good day. Thank you.